The journey began when I was 16 years old and found out that I had Bertolotti syndrome, and 5 years later I had my first spinal fusion.
A semi pulled out in front of us, and I went through the windshield and landed on the hood of the semi. And I fractured all the ribs on my left side and my lumbar, and that's how my pain started.
It began 42 years ago when I crashed out of a wave onto the rocky surface of the Santa Monica Bay. And I've had a headache for 42 years.
So in the process of lifting, I pulled muscles in my back and pulled muscles in my shoulder. And that was going on for years. I would ignore it, or I would just I would deal with the pain until it got to a point where it was no longer tolerable, where I had to seek help because of the pain was hurting so much.
I do track, soccer, volleyball, you name it, I do it practically. And about 3 years ago, I got injured playing, and it really wasn't a big deal because I didn't notice it at first. And then about a year after that, I got nailed again the same way in the same spot. And that's when it just instant pain and it swelled up, and I just was like, okay, what is going on now?
I was carrying some plastic sacks of groceries on a soft, sandy ground, and for some reason, something pulled out. By the next morning, I was on the ground, and I was in a difficult situation.
My uterus was shredded. My tubes were smashed flat and stuck onto my uterus. My ovaries were bruised beyond anybody being able to get anything out of them, so he had to do a complete hysterectomy. And he really couldn't explain to me what she did. Basically, he said it looked like she set off a bomb inside your belly and just closed you up and sent you home.
It was a workers' comp accident. I just was given $3,000 when I went to trial. They said, "Oh, your back hurts as well. Well, we'll give you a buyout of $3,000." And I was young and I took it. And I paid for it ever since. That's for sure.
So the chronic pain has been going on for probably 30 years. And until I got here, I didn't feel I had any hope.
It was really scary because I'm sitting here and I see we had the psychologist, and you had your chiropractor, and you had all these other doctors, and I'm like, okay, there's so many doctors here, are they gonna be able to help me, because I have so many things wrong, and I thought I was the only person that had all these problems.
Being in the class with a bunch of people who had chronic pain, it was sad to hear because most of their stories were heartbreaking for me. And then I was like, okay, wow, this is really happening. This really happened to people. And just hearing most of their backstories, I was like, wow. And some of them almost had me in tears. But it made me realize that I'm not the only one injured or going through pain, that there's a bunch of other people who need the help and that come to this program for help. And just my couple experiences, being here with myself, and then seeing them in here, it's really wow, we've all changed in a lot of ways just within the past few classes.
I sat down, and there was a semicircle of medical professionals all looking at me, prepared to help. I wept. My first reaction was I wept. I couldn't contain myself. I'm ready to weep just, in recollection of that moment.
And then I was laying there, and after having acupuncture, and I just went to sleep, and then I woke up and there was no pain. And I started crying. Because
How long had it been?
17 years.
The treatments I feel have been the most beneficial are any of the classes they offer, like Tai Chi and yoga, which help you strengthen yourself. It's going to help more, but the ones that really make me feel good, acupuncture, surprisingly, is quite not as scary as I thought and feels great, And the chiropractor works as well, To walk out later and an hour, 2 hours down the road from the appointments to still be going, wow, I feel great, It's been years and years since that's happened.
it was awesome because we got Tai Chi, chiropractic, even nutrition classes. It was awesome. I started feeling better right away. Not exactly because they cured me, they didn't heal my body completely, but emotionally, it was a big help. I felt love. I felt like somebody cares for me. And all the teas that they recommend and the exercise and all those things start healing my body really nicely.
Yeah, if I did come here, I would probably ended it because I was tired of it, you know. So many years with being in pain and all the medication and all that, it helps a little bit, but the pain's always there, you know. And, it's not there all the time now, you know. It goes away now.
When you walk in the doors, you don't have to prove that you're disabled. Everybody in that room knows you're disabled, and they have it too. So sometimes you just look across the room, you feel like crying, and somebody smiles at you, and then all these professionals here, that's all they want. That's all they want is for us to learn how to put it in perspective so that it's not the first thing you think of when your feet hit the floor. And my life has changed so much. And now with all the new treatments, I can't wait to come in here on the days that I come in, because I never leave here feeling worse. I always leave here feeling better. And nobody has been able to give me that in 29 years.
For you to deny that you're wondering whether or not life is something worth living, well, those are big, dark questions that really come up. So, I said earlier, my wife saved me by finding this place, and by virtue of her actions, the Desert Clinic saved me. It gave me a reason to go on. It gave me all these tools. And I'm just grateful. I'm ever grateful for it.